Alrighty, man. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers are getting $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/UCSS and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, and we actually have a winning ticket today.
Nice.
Today's winning ticket comes from Big Dog for Life 99, who turned $2 into, what's that, $56.54.
Nice. Oh, the baseball.
Straight baseball.
You got Jose Ramirez to get an RBI, Josh Naylor to get an RBI, David Fry 2+ total bases, and Kyle Manzardo 2+ total bases.
This was from Friday, by the way.
Okay. Oh,
That was
okay.
from Friday.
It also would have worked last night.
It would have worked last night, too.
All right, so
Yeah. By the way, real quick, Earl, after you take that down, I put up a parlay for the fans yesterday, and 2 of the 4 legs hit. The other 2 got rained out, so I got to figure out what happens now.
You get adjusted for the only 2 instead of 4.
Because the Tigers game got rained out. Go ahead, Earl.
all right, so a reporter, Christian Clark of NOLA.com, reported over the weekend that the Cavs and Pelicans would re-engage in trade talks surrounding Darius Garland and Brandon Ingram. How interested are you in adding Brandon Ingram in any trade scenario to this roster, and do you believe that if he's a fit or not?
Did you say that reporter's name is Kristen Clark?
Yeah, Christian Clark.
By the way, she dropped 30 yesterday.
That's Caitlin Clark.
Okay. Oh. Caitlin Clark dropped 30 yesterday.
Yeah,
for Indiana.
They
won their second straight.
I was like, is that Caitlin's sister?
Yeah.
I was like, Kristen Clark.
No, they didn't lose. I think they won, didn't they?
No, they lost. They lost.
They lost.
Sparks. Yeah.
I could have sworn they won.
You got her name wrong. You got the final
Steve
score
said
wrong.
bad job by
30,
you.
right?
She did score 30. Yeah.
Okay,
she had a good
Hey,
game
Bull,
yesterday.
You won for 3.
1 for 3,
333.
not bad. Yeah.
Steve said he even knew that. Bad job out of you.
Wow, if Steve knows something about sports, that's when I've dropped the ball for the day. That is, Steve. You're right. 100% right. You know, I am growing more interested in Brandon Ingram. Right? Now I feel like I'm saying his name right.
No, Brandon Ingram, that's correct.
McNuggets hates him.
You know why?
I don't hate him.
He hates it.
I don't hate him.
He hates
You, because even, like, I get he's injury prone, and ultimately that may sabotage him. But isn't he the best player they could realistically get?
Yeah.
See, I don't agree with that necessarily, and I'm not quite sure who is a tangible, more realistic target. My issue with Brandon Ingram, the numbers are perfect, and I'm going to preface this all with this. Brandon Ingram is a major upgrade over anyone they have on the wings right now, in terms of a playmaking, shot-creating 3/4, 6'8". The issue is you're getting a 27-year-old who's entering the last year of his deal and is up for a massive contract extension.
Right.
And he's going to get somewhere in the range, according to Spotrac, of 5 years, $240 million.
Right.
And I just don't think he's worth anywhere near $240 million. So if you're going to make a trade for a guy who's currently making $36 million, so you have to match salaries to a certain extent, I don't know if Brandon Ingram...
Everybody gets overpaid in the
But
NBA.
I just
Who
don't
cares?
think... But if you eventually have a guy in Brandon Ingram who is paid that high, it just handcuffs the entire rest of your roster. When you're already going to have Donovan potentially on a max contract and Evan Mobley on a max contract.
Okay, but if you have those 3 guys, well, what else are you doing anyway? You're not getting any other max
I just don't think
contract
that's a good enough trio.
So,
ultimately, if it's not, then I guess you don't do it.
That's my point.
Okay.
It's almost like saying, would you take his contract of $240 and trade it for Darius Garland's $240?
It's essentially swapping that.
And I would be like, I like his $240 better than Darius's
that's
$240.
true.
Like, it's just because he's taller, he can shoot, he gives you more length. He is exactly what you need at a 3 position. That move definitely facilitates you being able to move Mobley to the 5. And then it makes Jared Allen, you can look at it and say, okay, well, do I need to get something for Jared Allen to bolster and do something else? One for one, I like the move because, yes, he's injury prone, but Darius Garland is slighter frame. Darius Garland has been injured. And it frees up the fact that I don't necessarily have to get rid of Jared Allen if I don't want to get rid of Jared Allen.
But I would still trade Jared.
But I still probably would. But I could get more. Now, then Jared Allen's contract really looks good, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's true. Mike, I know, a lot of the guys you brought up are nice players, and they're cheaper. But what's the point if they're not as good as him?
Well,
I'd rather take the risk on him being healthy for a year or two in the playoffs, because I don't care if he misses the regular season.
Yeah.
I only care about the playoffs. So if I could, they keep, if he were healthy, if he were 100% healthy for a postseason, you don't think they could win the East?
I just
The
don't
way
think
the East is currently constituted?
So what Brandon Ingram gives you
Yeah.
is an iso ball scorer.
Right.
So we want more movement, right? You guys said all year you didn't like the my turn, your turn pick and roll.
Yeah.
Well, Brandon Ingram doesn't need a pick. He just wants you to get the hell out of the side of the court, and he's going to go one-on-one. I was digging through NBA.com today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The cons of Brandon Ingram as a scorer. And Brandon Ingram's a good player.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just pointing out how his style, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily mesh exactly with how the Cavs want to play. 49.8% of his shot attempts came when he had the ball and took at least 3 dribbles. So he's not doing anything in motion. He
Right.
is get out the way.
What's Donovan's percentage on that? Do you know?
No, but I could look it up. But he had 33.3% of his shot attempts came between 3 and 6 dribbles. 16.5% of his shot attempts came on 7+ dribbles. That's a large iso ball philosophy.
So wait, 50% is 3 or less dribbles.
Yeah, which is half of the time he is catching, dribbling, going.
Right.
That takes out all the catch and shoot threes.
Yeah.
Let me just go through the rest of the numbers.
Okay.
He attempted, we talk about space, right? We need spacing. He attempted 1,017 field goals in 2024. 350 of them came on mid-range pull-up jumpers. So you can't really play like Ingram plus 2 non-shooting bigs doesn't equal the spacing I think.
But they're not going to do that. We would assume if you
But
make that trade, you trade Allen.
I'm just giving you why I think
Yeah,
stylistically is not necessarily a great fit. He only took 33 corner threes all last season.
Mm-hmm.
So what does Donovan do best? Drive, get in the paint, kick to the corners, which is where you thought Niang, who turned out to be a disaster, did not come through. It's where you thought Strus, who you thought would be a perfect fit, did not come through. Brandon Ingram took 33 corner threes all season. He took 207 from above the break, which means he ain't getting in the corner. So from a stylistic standpoint of pairing him and Donovan Mitchell, if you expect to run a more cohesive, free-flowing offense, you're getting a guy who needs the ball and takes and dribbles the ball more than Darius Garland, who granted he's 6'9" and is bigger.
Yeah.
But stylistically, he's just a stretched-out version
Are
of
you
Darius
sure
Garland.
he dribbles more than Darius Garland?
I'll look at Darius.
And by
in
the
that
way,
sense,
is part
but-
of the reason he didn't shoot a lot of corner threes because he didn't have a guy to get him the ball there? I mean, or no? I'm just asking you.
I mean, listen, we
stylistic more than not a guy.
Hey, guess what? Listen, we got a guy. I know a guy that can hit corner threes. Amani Bates is playing next year. His red shirt year is over. You thought, matter of fact, put Amani. I want him. Listen, there's a good chance that Amani's going to play in the summer league again.
100%.
Oh, hey, listen. we gonna see something special. We repeating back to back.
Summer League champs?
Summer League back to back.
Has that ever happened?
We back to back. We about to
I
get
don't
it
know
done.
if it's going back.
Did he
But-
win the MVP last year?
No, what's the name?
Isaiah did.
Isaiah Mobley. He'll be playing too. He'll be playing in Summer League.
Isaiah Mobley's brother won the MVP in the Summer League?
Listen, he was creating and doing all kind of stuff in the Summer
I
League.
didn't remember that.
But I
That's how
was
important Summer League was. I didn't remember.
when we made numbers last year.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this though. All jokes aside, when you look at Ingram,
I got your numbers for you.
I know for a fact that going into it, he's injury prone. I know for a fact that he likes the ISO. But I also know for a fact that he's better than Darius Garland for the squad. Now,
Those are all true, by the way.
those are all true, right? So here's the way I look at it, Bull. It's the same way what the Cleveland Browns did, right? I'll make the analogy. Baker Mayfield, you had him. You had the roster around. You went for the splash trade. You went and got Odell Beckham Jr. Everything was ready. You had the team in the prime, Nick Chubb in his prime. You still got Myles Garrett. You got Denzel Ward. And then the quarterback didn't work. When they don't work, you're going to have to gamble. It's just what it is. Like, there's no safe off-ramp when you miss on a guy.
Yeah.
And we have come to the conclusion that they missed on Darius Garland. In basketball, you have to be exact, calculated, and you got to hit. Think about how the Boston Celtics, right? How many iterations they had of the Boston Celtics.
Yep.
But going way back to the LeBron times. The Kyrie, we missed on that. Kemba Walker, we missed on that. Man, we had Tatum and Brown. They had to figure out, well, what do we do? We need to bring in Porzingis. We need to ship out.
And Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart got to go.
Yeah.
So you got to gamble. So for us, there is no safe off-ramp. It could Ingram be not exactly what you want, or it could be injured, sure. But we missed on Darius Garland. So at the end of the day, we had to make sure that you can sustain and build around the guys you got left. You're going to have to take some chances, right? This,
and by the way, the Celtics took a chance on Porzingis, another
big
injury-prone guy,
and he's
who is
injured.
hurt now.
Who's injured,
but
right?
they kept winning. Is he coming back for the finals or no?
Yeah, they have a week off for the finals, so he's expected back.
Any
There was a
chance? Percentage chance Minnesota wins 3 more in a row and wins the series?
3.
3%?
Yeah.
2.5.
I'm giving them 5%. What do you think of that?
Great. Good
I want
for
him
you.
to win.
So you asked about Donovan's
Yeah.
stats in terms of the dribbles. Donovan took 60% of his shots after 3 dribbles. So you taking and Darius real quick. I gotta switch tabs.
After with 3 or less.
3 or more.
3 or more dribbles.
Yeah, so he gets the ball, dribbles at least 3 times before
Are
shooting.
you saying that it's a good thing or a bad thing?
Neither. It's just when he gets the ball stops because he's dribbling.
So Donovan
Does it more
is
than
more than Brandon Ingram.
Yes, but you want Donovan doing it a lot more than you want. My point is pairing them together doesn't solve your issue of, hey, we want an offense, G.
Yeah.
Those two don't run offense. Those two individually
Well, no matter
run
who you put with him, isn't that going to be the same thing with Donovan Mitchell?
Not, if it depends on which system they bring in, what you want to create.
That's
Yelled
the
at
coach.
that's where coaching comes in.
Yeah.
But we just yelled at.
But we yelled it because they didn't have anybody else that was as good. If Brandon Ingram's as good as Donovan Mitchell
But he's not.
as a scorer.
That's my point.
All
He's
right.
not.
But he's closer
people-
to Donovan Mitchell than anybody else they have.
The people who love Brandon Ingram haven't watched Brandon Ingram play a ton of basketball. That's the consensus he's been wherever he's been.
One of my
wherever he's
podcast producers, Max, is a Pelicans fan. He likes Brandon Ingram.
He's not bad. You see all the.
But he's better than anybody the Cavs have, yes? Except for Donovan Mitchell, of course.
like right now.
Yeah.
He's a one-time All-Star. Like he had a.
So who's better than him? You think?
I think if you want to make a case that Darius Garland's better than Brandon Ingram, I think you could make a case.
Well, you just agreed with G 2 minutes ago that Brandon
There's a
Ingram's
better fit.
better.
I think you got to break up the backcourt. But I'm saying it's a better fit.
So who's the answer? You gave us a list of slapdicks last week.
Well, I said
that are not as good as Brandon
Brandon Ingram was on the list. I just think he's their third best wing. Like on that same team, there's a reason he's the one that they're trying to ship out.
Yeah.
So here's, I do.
He might be the most realistically acquirable.
I do.
But he's their third best wing.
I think here's the thing. I think one of the things that Donovan Mitchell came to the conclusion of, and he'll never say this, but he looked at Darius Garland and was like, I'm trying to get you to get here, and I don't think I can get you there.
It's mental. A lot of it's mental.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can get you there.
Right.
Right. Like, and one of the things that when you make that decision, I don't know if I could get you there. And when he's sitting there on the bench, I'll give you an example. The Dallas Mavericks. You see what it looked like when you get 2 dudes that understand it. Say what you want. Kyrie Irving ain't gonna fold.
No. No.
Like when you talk about his mentality, he don't fold. Luka Doncic is not folding. Like Luka's bending over like, dang, like my knees hurt. He walking all ginger. Like those 2 dudes is monsters here. They're not gonna fold up. And when you got Donovan Mitchell, he said, I gotta figure out what are we gonna get. Like how can we upgrade that mentality? If you give me him and I got a 6'9" Ingram and I got Evan Mobley and I got Donovan Mitchell, right? You still got Jared Allen as 2 non-bigs. But can you get me something for Jared Allen that looks like, hey, give me somebody at the 2 guard or give me somebody that's going to be a defensive-minded guy?
The question Earl asked was, would you be interested in Brandon Ingram?
Of course.
My answer is yes.
Yeah.
Is he the top of my list of my interested candidates? No. But would I be interested? Absolutely.
Who's the top of your list?
In a perfect world, like I mentioned Trey Murphy.
In a realistic world.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like Trey Murphy, who I don't think New Orleans would trade.
But you're saying he's better than Brandon Ingram.
Trey Murphy's better than Brandon Ingram, yes.
Now, Brandon Ingram scored way more points than him, right?
19.5 versus 15.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes him better? He just does
He's
other things
younger,
better?
way cheaper, a better three-point
Well, I don't
shooter.
care about the money for this purposes.
He's a better three-point shooter. He's a better defender. He has way less injury history, and he fits into an offense. Brandon Ingram, part of his issue
Why didn't
ever
he
has
score
been
more then?
because he was playing 24 minutes a game.
Why? He's that good.
Because he's on a second-year player.
Yeah.
Him and Herb Jones split the
So
primary
you're
defensive.
speculating that he's better, but
There's a
educated
reason
guess?
one is untouchable right now and one is
Yeah.
very much tradable.
Okay.
The Pelicans are looking at that. But, like, realistically speaking,
Yeah.
guys who are acquirable at the 3 position, Brandon Ingram might end up being
Right.
the
We got to
best
be
3 they
realistic,
get.
Mike. They're not going to trade a second-year player for an overpaid Darius
But I'm
Garland.
not saying. I'm just saying, like, when you look at all the
guys.
guys, he might be the best free agent / trade target
Yeah.
available at that position. And if that's the case,
I don't care about
you go
the
out
money.
and do
That's
it.
Dan Gilbert's problem.
I'm not saying. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, if he's the best situation you could get, then sure. But I don't think you could set your goals as Brandon Ingram is the guy that we think
Fine.
completes this Cavs team, because I don't think he actually solves the issue.
Could you could you maximize that trade by bolstering it with another one? Like, okay, if you got Ingram has his warts, he has his shortcomings. Could you then go and say, okay, well, we got another trade piece that we go
Jared Allen. I mean,
Jared
that's
Allen, and we back up when he doesn't do well with.
So who's interested in Jared Allen?
I think teams that Jared Allen makes sense for, New Orleans, another team, but he doesn't make enough money to do that straight one-for-one trade.
Well,
also, if you tried doing Darius for Brandon, you'd have to send more with Darius.
I wanted to do C.J. McCollum, and I want C.J. McCollum, and I want Brandon Ingram.
that's another little guard.
for Jared Allen, and Darius Garland.
You send more money back. CJ makes a big ton of money too.
I'll give him Karis LeVert. Look,
See,
now hold on.
I don't like that.
Now what? So look at the lineup. You got Donovan Mitchell, you got C.J. McCollum, you got Brandon Ingram, you got Evan Mobley.
Well, how are you going to get McCollum and Ingram?
I'm trading Allen and Garland.
Who's your center?
Evan Mobley.
Who's your 4?
You find a 4. Find
Man.
somebody.
He said 2 for 2.
I want 2 for 2. I want C.J. McCollum and Brandon Ingram
Oh, okay.
for Jared Allen and Darius Garland. 1 through 4.
Does that make sense to you? I mean, how much CJ's from here, obviously.
Yeah, I don't love.
What has he got
CJ.
left in the tank?
Not as much as I think you would need.
How old is C.J. McCollum?
Older than you. He beat Duke in like 1963.
But you have a bona fide 2 guard.
Yeah.
You have a you got
CJ's 32.
so he's 32 years old. I didn't know he was that old. Dang, you came out when you was 26, CJ.
That's what I'm saying. He came out a long time ago. He can still play. don't
Last
get me
year,
wrong.
he averaged 20, 4.5, shot 46% from the field.
Yeah, I mean, New Orleans had a
Canton.
bunch
Don't
of.
everybody in Canton stay around the corner from each other?
Yeah,
Don't you know his
man.
peoples?
Listen, come on back to the spot.
New Orleans had a bunch of guys who scored last
Can we
year.
get Costa Kufos back too? He's still playing in the league?
I don't think so.
Nah, he lasted longer than I thought he would
Yeah.
last. I mean, good
He's
gracious.
from Canton too, right?
Yeah.
Byron Mullins, the list of Ohio
B-
State. one
B.J.
and dones.
Mullins, that's crazy, man.
So you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't make that trade if you were the Cavs.
2 for 2, nah. You get more, I think, in my opinion. I think you get the maximum value for those 2 in individual trades.
Okay.
I don't think packaging them together gets you your maximum.
So if you had to trade for McCollum or Ingram, you trade for Ingram.
Ingram and a heartbeat, yeah.
All right, so Garland and what for Ingram?
Garland and they probably want to pick, but I don't know how many like young assets they really have.
All right, and
'Cause
then
the
what do you
the
tra-
money's
and then
pretty close.
what's your Allen trade? What's your Allen trade?
On the spot,
Are you trading him for a 2 guard, or are you trading him for like
See-
a 4 that can shoot?
I think.
Yeah.
Well, because Ingram could be your technical 4, even though he's a 3. He's like the stretch
Okay,
forward. You got
fine.
Strus still.
Yeah.
But
Can we
my fear
Is what?
is if, and I was telling this to Earl yesterday, if you trade Darius, like I don't think Donovan's an 82-game point guard.
No, you bring in a veteran point guard for
Minimowski.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
is that the avenue you try and split up Jared Allen into a decent veteran point guard and a stretch wing, but the 2 pieces may not equal Jared Allen? Do you try going 1 for 1? Do you go picks so that he can swap picks? Like, there's a million different avenues. It depends on the team you're trading with.
Can we get Collins? Where John Collins at?
He's on the trade block. You can have him for whatever you want.
But listen, that's a stretch 4.
I actually don't hate John Collins.
That's a
What
stretch
teams
4.
he on? Atlanta?
No, he's Utah now.
Utah now.
He was on Atlanta, right? Or am I
Yeah,
making-
He was
and
on-
then Ant Edwards dunked him back into the shadow realm mid-season.
But does Utah want
they've been trying to
Jared
trade-
Allen?
No, they have no need for Jared Allen.
So who would want Jared Allen besides New Orleans?
New Orleans, Oklahoma City, who would never do a deal with the Cavs.
The Lakers.
The Lakers actually could use him. San Antonio, I think, makes sense.
Denver. Dallas.
What could you get?
Dallas.
Could you get?
Nah, they got
Could you
Jared
get
Clyburn.
Devin Vassell or however you pronounce his name?
Vassell? I do a little more digging. I don't know.
He's a 2, right?
Vassell is a 2. Yeah, he fits. He fits in what they're looking for.
could you get? I mean, is that crazy? Allen it seems like Vassal's better than Jared Allen, no? Or am I nuts?
Well, Vassell just signed the extension, so he makes more money now.
Yeah.
Well, he probably does straight up.
I mean, how good? If you had a starting lineup of Donovan Mitchell, Devin Vassell, Brandon Ingram, Strus, and Mobley, how good is that team in the East?
Should be a top 3 team.
Okay, you
around
probably
top
had to trade LeVert as part of to make
Yeah.
some money work. So who the hell's on your bench?
That's kind of.
Imani Bates.
Listen, the theoretical trades are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot more than just player to player because how the rest
Well,
of the
you'd have
rotation
your
falls.
boy, what's his name, Dean Wade. He'd be on
Still
the
have
bench.
Dean Wade.
You have.
I think teams are going to try to trade for Dean Wade this summer. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Denver.
You have.
Keep an eye on Denver.
Who else would you have on the bench? You have
Craig Porter Jr.
Craig Porter Jr. I'm not excited about him. Sam
Sam
Merrill.
Merrill's still back. You got Niang still?
Ooh,
Can't trade him. He's
he
kind of
sucks.
stuck.
You need a big man, the backup big man.
Bring up Damian James.
And you need a
Aaron Jones.
backup. But you need a guy who can play legitimate, like 20 minutes a night.
I agree.
And you need a legitimate, point guard,
Yeah.
veteran point guard.
Yeah. Ty Jerome. See if he's alive.
Nah, forget. He's a
See if he's
slacker. You
alive.
got to get a real guy.
I'm just telling you, you're kind of hamstrung at that point
Yeah.
with money.
Well, you got a veteran who maybe thinks they could, would you bring Marcus Morris back
I would like to, yeah.
as a bench player?
Yup.
He'd be
played pretty
cheap.
well.
He'd be cheap.
All right, Earl, what you got?